Imagine this. It's past midnight. The clock strikes 2 a.m. You're standing alone on a deserted road. Thick fog hangs in the air, the silence so heavy that you can hear your own heartbeat. Suddenly, in the distance, you see headlights cutting through the mist. A bus is approaching. You have no choice but to board it. After all, this is the last bus heading towards your home. But here's the catch. This bus won't take you home. Instead, it will take you to a place where your very soul will tremble. This isn't just imagination. In China, one man actually lived through this nightmare. And today, you're about to hear the most mysterious horror story in the world, a mystery no one has ever been able to solve. The story takes place in China, on bus route 375, which runs from Yuan to the Fragrant Hills. The distance is only about 16 kilometers, and this route usually serves late-night workers returning home. On the night of November 14, 1995, the bus was running its usual route. At the Summer Palace stop, 4 passengers boarded: an elderly woman, a young man in his 20s, and what seemed to be a middle-aged couple. Inside, only the driver and the conductor were present. The couple sat behind the driver, while the old woman and the young man sat facing each other. The night was eerily quiet. Thick fog reduced visibility to 0. Even with headlights, the driver could hardly see the road. He suggested taking a safer detour, but the couple insisted they continue the normal route. Shortly after, the couple got off at their stop, leaving just 4 passengers on the bus. As the bus drove deeper into the fog, the driver suddenly hit the brakes. 3 men were standing in the middle of the road, signaling to board. The driver hesitated, but eventually let them on. The moment they stepped inside, the atmosphere changed. The 3 wore ancient, ragged clothes, as though they had stepped out of a forgotten era. Their garments looked dirty and worn out, and the man in the middle seemed drunk. His companions were supporting him. But what unsettled everyone most was their strange presence. The elderly woman whispered to the conductor that something felt off about these men. The conductor dismissed her concern, saying they were probably actors from a local drama theater. But the old woman couldn't shake her unease. She kept glancing at them. And then, when a gust of wind blew through the bus, the hair covering the middleman's face lifted. She froze in horror. He had no face. Worse, when she looked down, none of the 3 had feet. They weren't men, they were something else. Realizing the danger, the old woman acted quickly. She staged a scene, accusing the young man of stealing her purse. The bus stopped, and after a heated argument, both she and the young man were forced off the bus to go to the police. Once outside, the terrified young man protested his innocence, but the old woman told him the truth. "I never lost my purse. I saved your life. Those men, they weren't human. They were spirits. If we had stayed, we'd both be dead by now." The young man stood speechless. They rushed to the nearest police station to warn them. But the police didn't take their story seriously. The next day, news broke. Bus 375 never reached its destination. Police launched a massive search. CCTV footage showed the bus only until the stop where the old woman and the young man got off. After that, nothing. It was as if the bus had vanished into thin air. 2 days later, the bus was finally discovered 100 kilometers away, submerged in a river. When authorities pulled it out, they found 3 corpses inside: the bus driver, the conductor, and one of the 3 strange men. Stranger, the bus's fuel tank was filled not with gasoline, but with blood. To this day, no one knows how the bus traveled 100 kilometers without being seen on any CCTV, why the bodies decayed beyond recognition in just 2 days, or who those faceless passengers really were. Some say the driver and conductor were already doomed the moment they picked up those passengers. Others believe Bus 375 still haunts the roads at midnight, looking for new victims. So next time you're out late at night, remember, sometimes the vehicle you board may not be taking you home. It may be taking you somewhere far darker. Even after the discovery of Bus 375 in the river, the story did not end there. In fact, it only got darker. The old woman and the young man who had escaped thought they were safe. For a few days, life went back to normal. But one night, just a week later, the young man woke up to a strange sound outside his apartment window. At first, he thought it was just the wind. But when he peeked outside, his blood froze. Parked right under his building was a bus. Its headlights were on, but the fog around it made it hard to see clearly. On the front display board, glowing faintly red, were the numbers 375. The young man shut his window immediately. His heart was racing. He told himself it had to be his imagination, or maybe another bus that looked similar. But deep inside, he knew the truth. The haunted bus had followed him. The next morning, when he went outside, there were no tire marks, no sign of any vehicle ever being there. Meanwhile, the old woman began experiencing terrifying dreams. In each dream, she was back inside the bus, sitting in the same seat, staring at the faceless passengers. They never spoke, but their heads slowly turned towards her, as if reminding her, "You escaped once, but not forever." Then something even stranger happened. A few police officers who had worked on the Bus 375 case mysteriously went missing. Their last radio message was chilling. One officer's voice cracked as he reported, "We're following up on a sighting near Fragrant Hills. We saw a bus, number 375, but there are no wheels. It's floating." The transmission ended abruptly. The officers were never found. Rumors spread in Beijing that Bus 375 was cursed. Locals said that at midnight, especially on foggy nights, people could still see the bus running empty, its headlights piercing through the mist. Some swore they saw figures sitting inside, staring out the windows with hollow eyes. Others claimed that if you were unlucky enough to board that bus after midnight, you'd vanish just like the driver and conductor did. The strangest part? Every year on November 14th, the anniversary of the incident, the police received dozens of calls from frightened citizens who say they saw Bus 375 pass by deserted roads, even though the route has been permanently shut down since 1995. And here's where the connection deepens. Remember the young man who survived? 2 years later, in 1997, he suddenly disappeared. His neighbors said they last saw him boarding a late-night bus during heavy fog, a bus that, officially, no longer existed. Some say the bus finally came back to claim him. Others whisper that once you see Bus 375, it never truly leaves you. So the next time you're standing at a lonely bus stop late at night and you see a bus approach with its lights flickering through the fog, look carefully at its number. If it's 375, don't get on, because that ride may be your last.